the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast or show or whatever you would like to call it. I am your host, Paladino Joey or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Double Twist, and many others. Thank you always for downloading and listening to this show. Great to be back on board once again today. And today we're going to focus on an area where, well, we'll say I somewhat have expertise. I've done 3 podcasts on it for about 900 episodes and about 12 plus years now. Sports. But we're going to go to the political side of sports. You know, the part that I can't really get into on those shows. I can get into them. I can get into it on those shows, but it's probably not highly recommended. It's mostly the whole cancel culture behind it, this and that. This show is going to kind of evolve this and that, show by show, episode by episode. Of course, this is episode number 3. I'm going to have an episode about the Mandela effect out there as well. That's why it's called Freedom of Thought. You know, just kind of discussion. If I'm lucky enough to get Paul Tooniverse Caniff, or Paul Caniff, if he doesn't want to have Tooniverse nickname in his show name, like to have him on as a guest to talk about that. He has a lot of knowledge in that area. It's a discussion. You don't have to agree. It's cool to agree. It's cool to have a. It's cool. There's some good points out there. This and that, but it's freedom of thought here, and that's what we're all about. This show will kind of definitely branch out into different areas, of course, generally political, but at times, again, maybe we'll talk about creation. Maybe we'll talk about the Bible, creation. We'll talk about Revelation, you know, this and that. It'll kind of go show by show into different topics, and of course, current events, and, well, this cancel culture bullcrap, and the pitchfork nation that has pretty much taken over the sports world for a long time now. When I first really started noticing it, now it's been around longer than this, but I first really started noticing it, like, what the hell is going on, is when the whole Donald Sterling thing started taking place with the Los Angeles Clippers circa 2014. He said something he shouldn't have said in the comfort of his home. In the comfort of his home. He said something he shouldn't have said in the comfort of his home. He didn't actually say, he didn't actually use a racist name. He just said something he shouldn't have said. And it was basically like, don't bring any more black people or something like that. It was something paraphrasing this and that. And then the whole world went absolutely nuts. For one, again, of course, he shouldn't have said that. He should know better, being a multi-billion-dollar owner of a sports team that, well, employs the exact people he's talking about. I don't know why he would say that. But at the same time, in the comfort of his home, and the way everybody reacted to that, I think went a bit overboard, just slightly. How they literally demanded that he has to be banned from the league immediately, banned for life, this and that. And the players wore their jerseys backwards, and they put their warm-ups on center court, just to, you know, all the players on the Clippers did all that. You know, it's okay to be offended or to not like what he said, but to react the way everybody did, I thought was a bit too much. I did. I think it was a bit over the top. Of course, that's just how I view it. To me, the whole thing is not about color, it's about attitude and your heart, and I've said that on previous shows. It's not about color, it's about attitude. If your attitude stinks, I don't like you. If your attitude is good, I do like you. That's all it is. To me, it's your heart and your attitude that count. It's not your color. And to me, a lot of those players' attitude was not good. I even heard of a man of color who's very left of center, a friend that I don't really hear from anymore, unfortunately. Talk about on his show, because, you know, people do their own podcasts and they lose touch. It's just how that goes. On his show, he basically told the players to shut the bleep up, and he's paying your paycheck. He basically said that, and he's very left of center, and he said that. Just think about that. He thought they were overreacting, and well, he probably wasn't the only one to see that, to see it that way. At the end of the day, recently here locally, and again we'll go back to the LA Clippers again as well. That drove me absolutely nuts. Or should I just go to that now? That's, again, how this show kind of evolves as it goes even. We'll stay with the Clippers momentarily because I don't want to get off it and then not come back to it. Now, former coach, and I'm okay with saying the word former coach, mostly because how he complains and makes all kinds of noise during games, and it's like every 10 seconds he's complaining and whining about call after call or call that didn't happen. That was Doc Rivers, the former Celtics coach. He's now the former Clippers coach as well. The statement he made when the NBA bubble was going to get started again just drove me nuts. And talk about generalizing. I mean, my God. He was, getting all teary-eyed and everything because, the whole George Floyd thing, and they wanted to get all the 99 billion % publicity on it forever, basically. The entire bubble. They wanted to get their point across, which I think they got it across. I think they got their point across in how they see things and how they want things. I think so. Them being NBA players anyway. And the fan bases as well seem to be in lockstep. Most of them, not everybody, because not 1,000,000% of everybody agrees, including Jonathan Isaac. Thank you very much. To the point, though, Doc Rivers saying, "Stop killing us." Stop killing us? Don't you think that's a little bit over the top? Do you really think everyone's out there looking to kill a certain group of people? Is that really what's going on? If you see the world that way, I don't know. I don't think that's what's happening. And I'm not saying it's okay to kill anybody. It's not okay unless your life is in danger as a police officer, this and that. It's not okay. But to generalize your group that way, that doesn't sound right. I don't know. To me, that just didn't sit too well. That's not why he was let go, of course. He was let go because the team underachieved. Because the Los Angeles Clippers, here we go to sports again, right? Have never made the Western Conference Finals. And they've been around almost 50 years. They started as the San Diego Clippers in the 70s. Because that's where Clippers are, sailboats and everything. And that's what a Clipper is, a sailboat, if you can believe it. Just like a Laker, if you can believe this. Freedom of thought, right? It's really thought-provoking. A Laker is obviously, it's not just because it's from Minnesota and we're the land of 10,000 lakes. It's not about the 10,000 lakes. It is a Great Lakes, quote-unquote, ocean liner. Those big ships that go through that beautiful elevating bridge in Duluth through the other 5 Great Lakes? That is a Laker. It's a lake, just like ocean liner in the ocean, those big ships. Well, those are Lakers instead of ocean liners. That's your Laker, folks. The big cargo ships and all that go through the bridge and go through the Great Lakes. So there you go. And the Clipper is also a boat. So congratulations. Los Angeles stole both of those teams, kind of. Not really, but they wound up with them because the owners moved the teams there and they stole the name. That's what they stole. And the history, unfortunately. To Minneapolis Lakers with 5 championships that count as Los Angeles Lakers 17. It's bull crap. But the San Diego Clippers have never even made it to the Western Conference Finals, ever. And they didn't again when they were probably supposed to not only get to the conference finals, but maybe even beat their, crosstown rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers, or actually they play in the same arena, Staples Center, but cross locker room rival, the Los Angeles Clippers. They didn't even get to the conference final. That's the real reason why Rivers was fired, but still. The big mouth, I got tired of it. I didn't like hearing that "stop killing us" and the crocodile tears and all that. I don't know. Sometimes that's how I see it, as crocodile tears, because you're in front of a camera. You don't have to like what's going on. You sure as heck don't have to agree with what's going on, this and that. But to just say "stop killing us," like as if we're literally out there, people are literally out there targeting them on a regular basis, I don't believe that. I think that's over the top. I think that type of rhetoric needs to stop. And that's what's been going on in the sports world that's been driving me crazy. All this kneeling for the national anthem and all these messages on your jerseys, these messages on your NFL helmets. I'm going to say once again, it's not about color, it's about attitude. If your heart's not in the right place, I don't think I'm going to like you very much. Period. Because there's a lot of white people that have the same point of view, and I don't like their attitude either. Just literally like, we gotta fight, we gotta argue. You're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a deplorable, you're a homophobe, you're a this, you're a that, you're a blah, 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 blah. It's too much. I think it's way too much. Who's really the fascist group here? You don't agree with me? Well, bleep off. Bleep off. I'd like to see I'd like to see our president's head cut off by Joe Q, whoever, by Robert De Niro. I'd like to punch him in the face. Stuff like that. Like to cut his head off by the actress. I don't even want to say their name. It's just a bunch of morons out there. And people that think that's cool, I don't understand. And to think how the Donald Sterling, see, it's another Donald, right? Ooh, Donald, it's an evil name. What's next? Donald Duck's racist because he's got white feathers. He's a white supremacist, Donald Duck. See, Daffy, there you go. Okay, I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's how silly it's getting, though, isn't it? Snow's racist. Cotton swabs are racist. What else? Clouds are racist. Lampshades are racist. Paper is racist. Okay, you know what I'm saying, though? You know what I mean? The white screen of nothingness on your computer when it's freezing up, that's racist, too. Can we stop? It's that's the stuff that drives me nuts. The sports world and all this cancel culture. And now we'll get to what I was going to kind of lead towards into the show, which is a local story. Bill Guerin, more cancel culture here. Bill Guerin, locally, general manager, Minnesota Wild, the best thing that's probably ever happened to the team. Because not only a breath of fresh air with the honesty about everything, honesty when he's assessing the team, but honesty with the media, openness. He's pretty cool, man. He's one of the coolest guys ever. And then all of a sudden, there's the story that comes out. Bring Me the News, this and that. They're another absolute leftist organization, unfortunately. But every media outlet is. The Athletics leftist, too. But it depends on who's reporting it, I suppose. Michael Russo's left of center. That's obviously, he's the major writer for the Minnesota Wild. Not just beat writer, but everything. Everything writer for the Minnesota Wild. Hockey expert. I don't care about his politics. I like the guy. I think he's an honest guy. I think he writes amazing stuff. I think he does his job well. It's amazing, though. See, it broke with, it didn't break with Bring Me the News, but that's the first time I saw the article about Bill Guerin's name was brought up in a sexual assault lawsuit. Some of us at first thought, oh, God, is he being alleged for sexual assault? Is he being charged for something like that? Well, it turns out then how then Bill Guerin was the assistant general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins, so he was the official general manager, the guy running the minor league operation for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was the head coach of that team that was sexually assaulting an employee's wife in the backseat while that employee was driving the car. They were hanging out they had a dinner and some drinks and this and that, and he was sexually assaulting her. I don't need to get into the details, but he's doing inappropriate things in the backseat with her. Well, the husband of the woman was driving, and they kept it quiet. They didn't say anything. The couple didn't say anything about it for 8 months. And then, next thing you want to know, it comes out in the news finally, this and that, obviously, or they finally tell Bill Guerin about it, and he says, I'll take care of it. And within a couple of days, that coach was fired. It was never brought up as to why he was fired, but Bill Guerin did fire the guy. And locally, a lot of people are already trying to say fire Bill Guerin because they thought he covered it up. There's an 8-month gap there, but he wasn't even told about it. But of course, right away, automatically, Bill Guerin covered it up, blah, 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 this and that. He covered it up, fire him, fire him, fire him. Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's this whole, this person's rights, that person's rights type of thing again, and automatically we got to fire a guy just in case you believe that he was covering it up the whole time, or he told people to keep quiet, this and that, when it was actually upper management told Bill Guerin to keep quiet, according to Michael Russo. I just don't believe Michael Russo would cover for Bill Guerin. I don't believe that. It's funny how people automatically, as long as it's all about whose ox is getting gored, all about whose political ox is getting gored, whose agenda ox is getting gored at the end of the day. I don't see Michael Russo as the kind of guy that would just cover for Bill Guerin because he's his friend or this and that, or they get along and this and that. Russo really dug for a lot of information because actually TSN reported it out that they didn't even mention the timeline. Michael Russo was talking about that. They didn't even mention the timeline of the incident. And again, it's just the way people locally especially, but all over the country, on Twitter and Facebook, this and that, automatically assume the worst always, and that now this general manager of the Minnesota Wild covered for this coach the whole time, and that he should be fired right away. It's a scumbag, this and that. It's incredible. Luckily, a lot of people have come around and have moved on, and the Minnesota Wild themselves fully support him. So luckily there's that. It's just sad and scary at the end of the day that there's people out there that would right away want to fire him without even letting the story really bleed out. Honestly, it's amazing how many people out there would want to fire a guy right away. Again, it's the cancel culture. Like maybe me right now, if I was on live radio, there'd be probably people calling for my head right now, even though I haven't said a single racist word. I just don't agree with Black Lives Matter. I don't agree with Antifa. I don't agree with what they do. I don't agree with the over-the-top behavior. And there are a lot of people of color that don't agree with Black Lives Matter and don't agree with kneeling for the anthem. They don't agree with Antifa. They don't agree with Joe Biden. So I'm just, at a loss with how automatically right away there's the cancel culture, the Pitchfork Nation comes out to fire somebody via, Twitter, Facebook, this and that, because when there's enough public outcry, then the owner might change their mind and let the guy go. Luckily, I don't think that's going to happen with the Wild in this case. It's just the thought that it could is what scares the hell out of me. The thought that I could lose my job because of what I'm saying scares the hell out of me. It scares me. And that's the last thing I ever want at the end of the day is for people to label me a racist, supremacist, which I'm absolutely not. Absolutely not. Check my Facebook friend list. There are a lot of people of color. We agree on a lot of things when it comes to politics, especially, again, all the Trump supporter ones is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of Trump supporter people of color on my Facebook friend list out there. So it's out there. Thankfully, they're there, and thankfully they are not buying into all this woke culture, this and that. We're automatically, we're all automatically like a white male is the worst thing on the planet when they don't have to be. How is that not racist to basically come out and tell me that white males are the worst thing on the planet? What does that sound like? Doesn't that sound Hitlerian to you? Like Hitler wanted to get rid of the Jews, basically? It's kind of similar to me. And I think a lot of people out there would agree with that statement. At the end of the day, it's a weird, heartbreaking situation for myself and others that your job could be in danger, your life could be in danger, this and that, just because people disagree and they want to take it to another level, to absolute pure insanity. Just because I don't support Joe Biden, I didn't support Barack Obama, Clinton I wouldn't vote for, this and that. The reason why I'm a conservative is because I want lower taxes and I want people to take responsibility for themselves, grow up. That's what I want. That's just part of it. I'm going to do a show about why I'm a conservative as well someday. That's another topic to get into. Of course, everything is kind of related and kind of webs together, but it's a different show, this and that. Today, it was kind of like the cancel culture in the sports media, in the sports world and the sports media that's been driving me crazy for many years now. Again, Donald Sterling was wrong in what he said, but should things have gone as crazy as they did? I don't think so. I don't think so. I wish he didn't say it, but the comfort of his home, I think that's a violation as well. You're violating somebody's privacy, this and that. And I don't know, the comfort of someone's home, I think, is a bit too far. Just wonder. Do you ever wonder what some of these celebrities, this and that, the ones that are on the other side, what do they say behind our backs? What do they say behind our backs? I'd like to know. What if we took a recorder in with Jay-Z and Beyonce? People like that. What if we did? Who knows what they say about us? Who knows what Charles Barkley says about us? Who knows what Tom Hanks says about everybody? It'd be frightening to find out. The Tom Hankses of the world, Jim Carrey, Robert De Niro. You think it's bad enough already. This and that. Hollywood, celebrity, and cancel culture, all of this. It's a disaster. It's a nightmare. Sports, Hollywood, entertainment industry, all the crap they say. Everybody says crap about somebody on this planet, I swear. That's just how it is. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect in this world. Nobody. And if the day you believe that is the day you'll be proven a pathological liar right there on the spot. You've just proved you are when you say you're perfect. No question about that. So Let's get to a call from Mark Carlson going in a different direction. Figure we'll get to it now because I don't want to put it on hold for a month or something if I want to wait to get into the topic of illegal immigration, which Mark Carlson gets into right now.
Hello to everybody on the Freedom of Thought podcast. This is your friend Mark, checking in from an undisclosed location in northern Iowa. Okay, hello Joey. Got to say thank you for putting this show together. I really like the title. I really like the content. The inaugural edition and the episode that followed have really gave me points to think about. And it kind of parallels my thinking anyway. So, hey, today I just want to comment on a few things. One was presidents. Now, good or bad or otherwise, there's always been a balance or a check, you would call it, in our political system. So I'm just not sure when presidents became king by executive order, and I don't like that at all. And I guess that's a problem because we have a Congress that can't do anything. They're so handicapped and stuck on their own issues, they couldn't do the right thing for the American public. So that's something to consider. At least that's my opinion of the problem. One thing I liked about President Trump was that he promised to build a wall and came right out and got the project going. And it really bothers me that there are Americans or at least they say they're Americans, in leadership in our nation's Congress that disagree and believe we don't need a border wall, or indeed we don't need border security, or for that matter, we should have open borders. That bothers me a great deal. So, because illegal immigration is a problem, and that's a multi-sided thing. I could talk about it for a while, but I'll make it brief here. A few points is you devalue the whole system if we're just going to allow people to walk, drive, fly, arrive in our country, overstay their welcome, or they sneak in anyway, whichever it is. I mean, there's different ways to get here. And they have no investment in citizenship at all. Rather than we have people immigrating the proper way by filling out the paperwork, being vetted, having a background check, paying the fees that go with it, and following all the steps once they get here. And I've been through that with my family, and it bothers us a great deal if they're going to turn a blind eye to immigrants that have not invested anything, no time, no money, and I just don't think that's fair. I guess there's that part of it, but also I think that if you haven't invested anything into coming to America, then you have less reason to respect the laws here or the processes that take place. And along with that, we were talking about, the whole country is talking about voting and voting fraud. And that might have well happened if you mail ballot request forms out and people fill them out. Who knows? When the ballots come back, who knows who filled out those ballots? So that's a talking point, and I'm not going to dig in it too far. But, I guess I have one more comment. I'll go back to illegal immigrants for a second here. That I just can't wrap my head around our nation's leaders, whether they're state government or federal government, but mostly state government and local government, maybe mayors, that are harboring illegal immigrants and creating sanctuaries for them. Because I follow the Immigration and Customs Enforcement news releases very closely, and I have for years. And one problem has become very apparent is that when we have an illegal immigrant who breaks the law, and it wouldn't matter what type of law, let's just say felonies for now, and then ICE, for one reason or another, wants him held on a detainer so they can interview him or whatever. Maybe they need to deport him. They have a deportation order, and the local governments release him back into the community, and it happens all the time, and it's happening today. It happened yesterday. It's going to happen again tomorrow. And some of these guys are dangerous criminals, sex offenders, and it's just, it boggles my mind. That's not, it's not the way we created our laws for our citizens to follow, but illegal immigrants don't have to follow these rules. So it breaks my heart our country is evolving that way. But lastly, my comment would be, who benefits from illegal immigration anyway? And Joy, if you've got an opinion on that, I would sure love to hear it. Who benefits from the illegal immigrants? Does it help in the census? I don't know, because they're hard to count. I've been involved with that this year at the census. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, guys. I'm looking forward to the next episode. God bless America. This is Mark from Iowa, checking out.
Hey, Mark, can't thank you enough for the call-in. That was awesome. Audio submission on episode number 3. Good start. Illegal immigration and who benefits. Who benefits from illegal immigration? Well, to me, it's the Democrats. Hardcore benefit from it, because why do you think California constantly is blue? New York, places like that. They're filled with illegal immigrants. Go ahead and again, it's just another one of those. It's another one of those topics that people get so offended by. How dare he say that? That is just the most awful thing, deplorable, xenophobe too. I'm a xenophobe too now. No. Then every country on the planet is a xenophobe if you don't want illegal immigration going on, because China doesn't want illegal immigrants, Japan doesn't, Mexico doesn't. That's right. Honesty is the best policy with everything. Honesty is the best policy. My wife is from Vietnam, and she did it honestly. Her family from Vietnam, they did it honestly. Her parents, her sisters, their husbands, this and that, cousins and this, da-da-da-da-da. They did it honestly. They didn't come here and overstay their welcome, so to speak, and just kind of screw around. People at work actually got caught one time. She fled to Canada. It was kind of funny, because she was one of the most crooked, dishonest people there, and she kept moving up, which was driving me absolutely nuts. I mean, it was plain as day she's a crooked person. I just didn't know she was an illegal immigrant. But, oh darn, I'm so sad. I miss her so much. That's how this world is now. Very, very crooked. The Democrats benefit in a huge way. That's why Nancy Pelosi's, seems to be like the queen of California, basically. Like a monarch where they're there until they die, basically, which shouldn't be the case. She shouldn't be in place till she dies. Same with frickin' Maxine Waters, frickin', all of them. Newsom is terrible, obviously. And obviously presidential candidates forever get California. That's 55 electoral votes that they're basically guaranteed every year. Republicans win California, President Republican, done. Like Ronald Reagan, landslide. George H.W. Bush, who I don't agree with much. I thought he tried to bleep up the Reagan administration, and quite honestly, there's talk that he was part of the murder attempt on Ronald Reagan. That's how crazy things are. They were polar opposites. People just didn't realize it back then. Bush was very much New World Order, very much establishment, very much on the wrong side of things, where Reagan was the opposite. Point made, though, again, they always have these strongholds, these Democrat strongholds, because of the illegal immigrants. They allow illegal immigrants to vote with all this voter fraud that's been going on forever. Voter fraud has been going on forever, where it's like there's no voter ID. Joe Q, whoever from wherever, can vote because there's no voter ID. He can say, I'm Joey Awajan over there in Golden Valley. I'm Joey Awajan. The apartment over there, Golden Valley, I'm not going to say the address because probably shouldn't, but you get the idea. Let's just say building 1314, copyright Dan Cole, apartment number 3. Zip code, this, that. Yep, Joey Wyger. Yep, okay. Joe Biden. Let's see, Joe Biden, or, obviously, Nancy Pelosi, Senator Pelosi, whatever the hell you want to call these clowns. All these corrupt politicians in California, New York, this and that. How do you think Ocasio-Cortez got elected? That clown in New York area over there. How do you think she got elected? Was it legal immigration? Probably not. Obviously, there's a lot of brainwashed idiots in these Democrat strongholds to begin with. What about Minneapolis, Ilhan Omar? Not only was there voter fraud, but there's voter fraud on top of voter fraud. The illegal immigrants, but also, again, stuffing ballots, this and that. And a lot of leftist idiots that live in this city as well. It is a cesspool of left-wing politics in Minneapolis, a lot like San Francisco, California. We're probably about up there with San Francisco right now in so many different ways, politically. It's disgusting. It's sad. God only knows how many illegal immigrants are in Minnesota. I've encountered a few, at least I'm pretty sure, when I worked at the gas station many years ago, when the guy was buying a pack of cigarettes and had no ID at all. Zero ID. What does that tell you? And he just kind of was laughing, like, no? I'm like, can I see your ID? He's like, no. What do you think that means? Yeah, it's real funny, dude. That's what it means. There is no identification because she's, well, I think you get the point. Read between the lines. And the Democrats benefit in a big way. Corrupt companies benefit as well with paying them under the table for cheaper than they would have to pay this person. Like, say, imagine somebody at Boston Scientific, a trainer or whatever, is making $20 an hour. And then when they can hire this other person for $11 an hour to do the same job because they're either an illegal immigrant or it's in a different country across the world. That's how these companies play the game. They play the game and they have their headquarters in different countries and they pay almost no taxes whatsoever. That's why you look through E-Trade and such, the market capitalization. All you have to do is look up the company like a Microsoft and Apple or Google, Amazon, for crying out loud. They've now officially added a T, because before it used to be like 1,000 billion, because there was no T. Well, you got Amazon 1.56 T. Do you know how many taxes they'd be paying for a company worth $1.56 trillion? Well, insane numbers that we can't even imagine. But guess what? They probably pay less than 1%. Most likely. And that's how a lot of these companies are as profitable as they are. Apple, with their headquarters in China, they're playing the game. See, we're getting, the United States is getting nothing out of it. That's bullshit, man. That is absolute BS. We're getting no taxes out of it, but the taxpayers better pay. Pay, taxpayer. Another reason I vote conservative. 100%. Market capitalization 2.07 T, Texas. Trillion. That's insane. Yeah, every schmuck in the world is holding their little iPhone and their iPad, and they think they're on top of the world. They think they're better than you with their cute little Apple MacBook. Oh, we're happy for you. And I know some of you have your iPhones. And I use an old iPhone for an iPod. So, yes, okay, this and that. I'm just saying some of the arrogance of some of the younger generation with it. It's tiring to watch with their $2,500 laptop that they don't need. It does the same stuff a computer half that price could do. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. But, that's not, yes, it sells this and that. It sells and sells and sells. But, there's manipulation going on, especially with companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. They're all in the trillions. Seems like yesterday Microsoft was $300 billion. A lot of money. But when we're talking 1.5 T for Microsoft, how did they make that much in such a short amount of time? Tell me, somebody, please. You don't think there's some kind of corruption going on? Facebook, $800 billion. Okay, $800 billion. That's insane. So, again, illegal immigration, manipulating the taxes, this and that. With illegal immigration, they can do their cheaper salaries and kind of play games that way. Whereas, overseas, putting jobs overseas, that's the other way of doing it. But one way or another, the gargantuan companies benefit, and maybe some crooked smaller ones as well. Some out there might be crooked, paying guys under the table, this and that, to cut grass, this and that, like a lawn service might be doing some of that crap as well. You hope to God that they're honest, they're legal immigrants, they have their papers and blah, 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 and they're American citizens or they're on the verge of becoming one. God bless them in that case. It is what it is. Even though it would be nice to slow things down a teeny tiny bit, because if they're not going to come actually to work rather than work the system, the taxpayers sure as hell aren't benefiting at all. And the taxpayers are you and me. They're not necessarily, oil tycoon in Texas, Donald Trump in New York, before he was president, this and that. We're the ones getting taxed. We're the ones paying the taxes even more than you want to admit. And it is what it is. So with that said, I think I'm going to wrap things up here. Freedom of Thought, episode number 3. Hope it was okay. Hope you enjoyed it. There will be different topics with different shows. Sometimes we'll talk about taxes. Sometimes we'll talk about a current event. Hopefully, this Trump situation continues to move red rather than blue. This and that. That Trump will be the 45th president. There won't be a 46th president for 4 more years or 8 more years. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm just saying. People keep joking about 8 more years of Trump. I don't know about that, but that'd be interesting, depending on the situation, I suppose. I suppose it's kind of happened before with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but he wasn't exactly America first either, was he? He really wasn't. He was a modern day Biden, or an old days Biden, I guess you could say, in a lot of ways, or Clinton or whatever. He wasn't necessarily on the right side for this country when you look at his socialist policies and a lot of the crap that happened with gold and all that, the gold standard getting messed up intentionally to continue to devalue the dollar. Very, very good stuff. Thank you very much, Roosevelt, for that. And we can go on. That's another show as well. We could talk about the dollar, this and that. We're going to be all over the place, but generally the general consensus is anti-New World Order, anti-Antifa, you get the idea. Pro-America, America first, Christianity, Christmas, Thanksgiving, apple pie, baseball, this and that. I'm just kidding, you know what I mean, though? The American dream, this and that, where sometimes it goes from a dream to a scheme, that kind of conversation as well. So with that said, shout outs to the Alex Jones Show, the Savage Nation, X22, Turley, guys like that. God bless all of you. Hope you have a wonderful week here and there. This is the first time I actually recorded the show 1 week later on the same day. So, I don't know if it's a trend. We'll see what happens. It's going to be random. It's going to be random releases. I might record back-to-back shows on back-to-back days, obviously, and I'm going to try to get some guests on to talk about certain topics. Maybe some really, really interesting guests. Obviously, even getting Paul Canova on here to talk about the Mandela effect. The conversations we've had, fascinating stuff. I think you'd like it. You'd find it very interesting. You don't have to agree with everything, but some of it is right up in your face, the Mandela effect. So keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for, hopefully, Mr. Paul Canova joining the show to talk Mandela effect. That would be the topic pretty much for most of that show coming up. And who knows how long it'll be. It could be a couple minutes. It could be huge. It could be a long, long show. With that said, please write a positive rating on iTunes or Stitcher. At least those are the two applications that I know have the option to write a review. Or at least give me a review. Just put the 5 stars, this and that. Tell us what you like about the show. Tell us what you'd like to see improved, this and that. You can do an audio submission just like Mark Carlson just did. Basically, open your free voice recording application that is on every smart device on the planet. Click record. Treat it like a phone call. Hit stop. Save it and email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. paladinolive@yahoo.com. I will then turn it into a MP3 file thanks to Zamzar.com. With that said, take care, and we'll talk to you hopefully sooner rather than later.